Captain, oh Captain. We're going to have a talk about who we think should be the new captain of the St. Louis Blues and if there should even be a captain. We're having this debate again because I have a couple of reasons as to why I want to see a captain soon.
Hi, I'm Robert Thomas, and this is Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I'm your host, Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On today's episode of LOB, I'm going to talk to you about captaincy. Okay, who would be the best and who would be the worst captain for the Blues this upcoming season? In having this debate, I have to bring this up. Why is there so much hate towards Robert Thomas? And finally, do you like that the NHL is going to have 84 regular season games instead of the 82 games? We never really talked about that. And this is something that I feel like, you know what? Why not have a discussion? So let's just dive into things. Obviously, the Blues don't have a captain right now, right? The last captain they had was former captain Braden Shen, who got traded to the New York Islanders during the trade deadline. Obviously, the team didn't name a captain following Shen's trade. And you know what? They shouldn't. Like, it happens. You don't name a new captain like that, right? However, now that there is new management, especially when it comes to the GM position and Alexander Steen, you would think that the team would want to build its own identity. For the first time ever, okay, you have Coach Montgomery being able to pick his own assistants. This hasn't happened to him in the past. He's always had them, kind of grandfathered in. He has been able to do that. So the next question would be, you have a solid leadership group in terms of captaincy. I mean, not captaincy, but in leadership with coaching staff. You have leadership when it comes to off ice, like a GM. Why not have that leader on ice? And that's why I feel like having a captain would be beneficial. I know there's a lot of people that have said things like, you know what, having A's is better than naming somebody as a captain if they're not ready for it. I disagree. I think in the game of hockey, we've gotten too comfortable stepping away from having a captain. And I don't know why that is. 25% of the teams in the NHL right now don't have a captain heading into this season. I take that as a joke. Okay. I understand that there might be some guys that you might look at and say, you know what, this isn't a captain. But I am sure in each respective team, there's somebody that could step up and fill in that role. And the only exception I'll make is if during the season, like especially by the trade deadline, if you trade away your captain, I don't think you should have to name a new captain. But you have an entire off season, figure it out. I know who I want it to be. I want it to be Robert Thomas. And I have been very clear about that. He produces the most points for us. He's been solid on the first line. He's our 1C. He makes other guys look good. I mean, you look how Thomas is when he plays with Snuggie. He makes him look so good. And even Holloway. I just feel like he should be the next captain. He's also a Stanley Cup champion. I'm also seeing the Stanley Cup tomorrow. It's coming to my town. So that's pretty cool. But being said, I just feel like it would make so much sense for it to be Robert Thomas. But I wanted to ask a lot of you because I'm biased. We all know he's my favorite player on the Blues besides Binnington. And maybe some of you have a different type of opinion, which is, again, completely your opinion, right? But that's why I asked. So right now on Twitter, Locked On Blues, this question is up. It's live. I would love for you to vote on it. If the Blues should even name a captain. So I'll read you that result because that was also another question. And I said, do you think the Blues will name a captain? 56% of you say yes, while 44% of you say no. So that's closer than I thought. I thought it was going to be like 80% yes, 20% no, but whatever. So Snap says, Parayko or nobody, happy to leave this team captainless for a season. So then Cap says, I love how I'm calling you guys by your usernames. Cap says, captains lead by example. Parayko is still way too inconsistent and needs to learn to use his body before it's too late into his career. I mean, I think he's already kind of late in his career, in my opinion, but okay. Snap says, he's an excellent player without the physicality, so why change it? His lack of resilience on physical play should also lead to him aging more gracefully. I do wonder, though, about the physicality aspect still, though, for sure. And it's giving a big reason why he should have the C. Here's the thing. Parayko plays cautious, and nothing wrong with that. He doesn't have a big physical game, and we all see that. We all know that. That is a fact, right? However, in the same sense, it would be hypocritical for me to use that as an argument against Parayko because Robert Thomas doesn't use that much of a physical game. So I can't fault Parayko for that. And Parayko, I mean, he is a leader, okay? But I also can't get over that the team did try trading him multiple times. I don't know if they would reward him with captaincy. That's where I have an issue. We have obviously Stanley Steiner saying the elite Robbie Thomas, and it was a great picture of when he won the cup with the team. Hall says, I want a leader. Don't give it to the youngest or the best. Give it to an on and off leader. Till we have one who really stands out, leave it vacant. See, I do have to say, and this is what concerns me, why is it that the guys that are personalities, right, in the sense of the guys that are the locker room guys, why is it that they're also not the skilled players, right? And that's my issue. You have guys like Sonny, like Nathan Walker, Turpachenko, who are so good in the locker room, right? They're the personalities of the team. And it's not a dig on them. We all know what they're capable of, but it's not going to ever be enough to be considered a great on-ice talent. And I feel like there's so many teams that got lucky with having players that are great, in the locker room and on ice. I think of Mark Stone. As much as we don't like him, captain in the VGK, he is a talented and skilled player on ice, and he is a leader in the locker room. And I try to think of players on the Blues that, represent that. And it's hard. It's really hard. I feel like Holloway has the potential one day to get there. Broberg, again, it's just step up the personalities, boys. But, we only see so much, so I don't know. Concerned Citizen says, if there's a captain in the room, then yeah, name him and let him grow. Robert Thomas should obviously be the captain with Broberg as an honorable mention. I think Brobes is not ready to be captain yet. But I get your thinking on that one. 3 A's, Tomer, Broby, and rotate Parayko and Neighbours. I have to tell you, I don't know if Jake Neighbours is ready. I don't know if I would give it to Broby. I don't know. And we'll get to all the Thomas hate because we have somebody that says, I don't think Thomas is a good choice. I have to disagree with this one. Give this seat to Bushi. No. No, I quoted that and I said no. We have a couple of Thomases. We have a Neighbours. And when somebody said Neighbours, somebody then replied and said, rewarding mediocrity with captaincy seems like a terrible example to set. Okay. The real Rob Father, I love the name, by the way, says, Tomer will probably get it, but I have no clue who the leader in the locker room is that everybody looks to. And then somebody says, Curb says it will be Thomas or Parayko for the first time. For time with the team, if nothing else. So I want to say this. I've been inside the Blues locker room multiple times throughout the years, right? I don't live in St. Louis. We know that. But when I do see the Blues on the road, I do go inside the locker room. I interview the players and, whatnot. I have to tell you, as much as people say things like Robert Thomas doesn't have the locker room, they respect him in the locker room, and you can tell. But again, like, it's the personalities, and that's the issue. And it's nothing against Sonny at all. He is the personality. Bougie actually, believe it or not, has a personality. I didn't think he would, like, to be completely transparent. But he makes jokes. I don't get his jokes, but he makes jokes to the guys, and they all find him funny. So I guess that's something. Hofer, believe it or not, I don't know, goalie, but I'm just letting you all know. He also is somebody that has a personality. I just don't know in terms of like the potential candidates who would be it. I mean, Holloway, in my opinion, is more vocal than Broberg. But again, I don't see them like some of the other reporters do on a daily basis. That's just from my observations. You know, with Braden, and I really reflect on my time when I was able to talk with Braden Shen, he was able to captivate the locker room in that sense, where you never had any doubts, you never had any concerns if they were going to listen to him or not, because they always listened, they always respected him. And I mean, I'm sure they're going to listen to whoever, but I feel like for whatever reason, there was something about Braden that the guys just gravitated towards. So I guess we'll see. Coming up, though, I do want to talk to you about something that I don't understand and that actually annoys me. It's the RT18 hate. I don't get it. I don't get why people don't like him. I don't get why people have an issue with him. And with that being said, I'll have an issue with you. So let's get to my crash out segment right after this. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. It's easy to play. Just make sure your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their next game is in. And guess what? If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is a fun way to stay engaged with every day's games. Whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league, every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. And listen, my friends, we're almost nearing postseason baseball, which means that these games are kind of hitting, the crunch time mark. So now more than ever, it's important for teams to find ways to win. And the best way to win, besides ribbies, is homers. So this is a great way for you to continue watching, whether it's the Cardinals, Phils, Braves, Mets, whoever. You want to watch some National League baseball, this is the best time to do so. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. So one thing that I don't get, and one thing that no one can explain to me, because I have tried, I see things all the time on social media about people not being a fan of Robert Thomas. And I have to say, I want to know your reasoning. Saying to me, he doesn't have a personality, sorry, that's not going to do it, because how do you know how his personality is inside that locker room? You don't. That's an assumption based off of literally just seeing him with cameras in his face. You don't know how he is without that. I mean, there are some hockey players that I have, encountered throughout the years, like post-game, media, where they are in front of a camera or microphone and they freeze up. But yet after practice, like, you'll go in to talk to the guys. It's a more relaxed environment, especially way more relaxed than like after a game. And they're cool as a cucumber and they have a personality. I think that it's easy to make assumptions because, again, when you don't know and you only see it one way, you're going to think, okay, you know what? He's quiet. He's more reserved. He's not going to be vocal. But you're only seeing him when he's in front of a camera. You're not seeing him in any other aspect. You might read quotes about things that he said during practices, but that's not the same thing as seeing it. So I do understand that. I do understand why that might have a hard time translating for some people. And listen, if I wasn't in this industry, maybe I would too. I mean, it's hard to say, right? But I just see it from a very different perspective to where that doesn't make sense to me. The other thing that doesn't make sense to me is this. He produces the most points, right? A lot of assists, leads the team in assists season after season. Even when he's injured, he's always leading the team in goals. I don't know what else you want from him. I don't know why there's an issue with you guys and him. And I'm not saying all of you. And I can't even say a few. There's a good amount of people that don't think he should be captain. I mean, what I put out on Twitter saying, do you think the Blues will name a captain? The fact that 44% of you said no is a huge indication. It's not like, do you think Robert Thomas will be captain today? Like, that could be like, okay, you know what? Fine. It's the fact that none of you think that, I mean, not none, like a good amount of you think that he won't be captain or he doesn't deserve to be captain. That's what concerns me. Because is there something that I'm missing? Is there something that I'm not seeing as your host of Locked On Blues that you see? I mean, here's the thing. Not everyone's going to like every player. Trust me. We all know the players I don't like. A lot of them are not here anymore, but we all knew I was very vocal about players that I didn't like. Not as people. I'm sure off the ice, these guys are great. I don't care. Not my issue. I care about what's on ice. I like effort. I don't like laziness. And I like pride. I see pride in Robert Thomas. I see effort in Robert Thomas. And you know what I like about Robert Thomas? His work ethic, his pride, his ability to make others look good, his leadership. Okay? Big word, leadership. I think that the difference, right, between Robert Thomas and maybe, and I know this is like kind of like a weird comparison, but just hear me out. And a guy like Bushi is a multitude of things. But one of them has a lot of effort in the game. It's the skating hard, even when you know it's not going to do anything. Even though you know that you already lost the battle, you're still going to skate hard. It's not showing your frustrations. It's being prideful to wear the blue note. I think for a lot of us, we sometimes don't appreciate the players that are not as out there, right? Like, for instance, I'm trying to think of a player that really just blends in, like Pius Suter, okay? He did fine. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. He was fine. We didn't talk about him that much because like he didn't stand out. It's not like a guy like Sonny who doesn't play the best, to be fair, but has a personality, who always stands out. And we talk about that because it's something exciting to watch. Are you not entertained by Robert Thomas? Like, I'm trying to understand, what is he doing that's making you feel like he's not deserving of being captain? With Colton Parayko, my only thing is this. I think that he deserves it. I do. I just don't think he'll get it because of Thomas. And I don't get the team wanting to get rid of him for so many years. And I get it. I get that you can get value. I understand their reasoning. But at the same time, the defense has been such a mess for such a long amount of time. And he's so consistent. You know, he's a great example of that these younger guys should look up to. So I think that he is deserving to be captain. But I just don't see it going to Parayko because of Thomas. But the threes, I mean, that would be a mistake. It would be. I'm going to say it. It would be a mistake. I think that the NHL should not allow teams to go vacant in the beginning of the season like that. I think that it should only be after a trade deadline. You know what? Even if you have like an interim captain, fine. But the reason why I'm saying this is because 25% of the teams that don't have captains right now should have captains. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's an issue. And It's, again, like, I don't like when my game of hockey isn't followed to a T. Mm-mm-mm. So speaking of that, the NHL went from 82 games to 84 games. And we're going to talk about that, but right after this. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. And you want to know why I'm thanking you? Because you were watching and listening to Locked On Blues here on YouTube or whichever streaming app for podcasts you're listening to. And I appreciate you. So let me say it like this. I love hosting Locked On Blues, right? But I couldn't do it without you. And I am so serious. Your comments, your replies on Twitter, and even just knowing that you're listening is the reason why I've been able to continue and make Locked On Blues as successful as it is. I cannot wait for the season. We're going to have so much fun, exclusive content per usual. And by the way, on top of that, we're going to have some great hockey to talk about, react to, and analyze. So right now it's August 19th. And I think, in my opinion, by maybe September 19th, maybe before then, because the Blues' first preseason game is September 19th, they will have a captain. So this is the best time to get involved. Make sure to, again, hit that like and subscribe button, and I will talk to you on the other side. So I have to talk to you about the NHL switching from 82 games to 84 games. And the main reason, in my opinion, is stupid based on why they did it. But it's basically adding 2 divisional games per team, meaning now every team plays its rivals 4 times each, 2 at home and 2 on the road, and this creates a more balanced schedule. So it's 28 divisional games, 4 against each of the 7 opponents, 24 conference games against non-division opponents, and then 32 interconference games, home and away against every team in the other conference, 84 total, 42 home, 42 away. So this means 2 more ticket sales and, broadcasts to sell. Money is obviously involved, right? Here's the thing. 4 preseason games instead of 6. That, to me, is a blessing in disguise. I hate preseason hockey. I'll say it. I hate it. But at the same time, I think that this is a disadvantage for the younger guys because in preseason hockey, you can have some of the guys that you're going to send to the minors, really ride and play a majority of the games. And it's a good assessment of them and how they would handle being at an NHL level. I think that with having 4 preseason games, you're eliminating a lot of that. But I think but again, that's me looking at the younger potential prospects, right? This is not me looking at this from a standpoint of the NHL. I'm looking at this as, a way for these young kids to get involved. And I think too, anytime you can make more money, it's going to be a plus for the NHL. Worse for the players, okay? Because again, it's going to create more fatigue, potential injuries, load management, travel is going to be even tougher. And it doesn't seem like much, right? But at the same time, it's already a long season. So it's just going to add on to that. But it does make the schedule format better. But while it is 2 games, again, think about how beat up these guys are by the end of the season. At least with the 6 preseason games, you're not playing your everyday guys in every one of those games. It's not like you're going to be getting beat up in preseason, okay? Like, chances are slim. In the regular season, yeah, every game, every point matters. So it's questionable only because it does make the season longer. It adds more wear and tear on the guys. So I get why. I get the logic, okay? I get concerned because I don't want it to come down to game like 83 and then all of a sudden we have a guy facing an injury and it's going to screw us in the playoffs. I do think that the Blues are a playoff contending team. I have said that multiple times. I just want them to stay healthy. And adding on those 2 games creates a higher probability that maybe that doesn't happen. I'm not trying to pinpoint which players I think will get injured because that's bad juju. But I do think that there are a few guys that come to my mind where I do get concerned. And I think that while, yes, 2 extra games doesn't seem like a lot, it is. It is. It's going to come to like April, and these guys are going to be so tired and fatigued. And I just want them to be able to be rejuvenated for playoff hockey, but we'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and maybe these extra couple games will be beneficial. I mean, hey, some of these guys did play in the Olympics, right? I mean, like Parayko, Binnington, like Broberg. I mean, we do have guys that did play extra games, quote unquote. So we'll see. No excuses, obviously, but hey, it's the NHL. They want to make money. I'm sure, ticket sales and all that stuff too kind of helped. So we will talk tomorrow. And like usual, let's go Blues.